Okay, so now we have America goes to war. Now, America preserves a cautious neutrality, and like we went over in class, America tries to stay neutral for the most part as the war begins. We still have the isolationist ideals, right? And FDR creates the Neutrality Acts of 1935 to 1937, and it prohibited Americans from traveling on ships of nations at war. We know that with World War I, one of the main reasons we got into the war was because of the sinking of the Lusitania, and we didn't want that to happen again. We didn't want Americans being killed because they're traveling to or on ships of foreign countries, right? Americans could not sell goods to countries at war, and it was only based on a cash and carry basis, right? So basically, you can really only sell whatever you can carry on you. And then, of course, FDR gives his quarantine speech, which is what we went over in class, right? That he called for economic embargoes against aggressors, right? We went over that term, embargoes. And again, we wouldn't trade, and we would kind of quarantine those aggressors, like your dictator countries, and we wouldn't have any business with them. And of course, this is his speech. Now, America enters the war. Well, first, we unofficially enter the war by creating the Lend and Lease Act. FDR believed the U.S. entry into the war was going to be inevitable. Our allies, which is Great Britain, was already in the war, and we were one of their main trading partners. It says in 1941, armed American ships were authorized to carry supplies directly to Great Britain. So this is before we got directly involved in the war. We would lend and lease things to Great Britain. Increasing tensions between the United States and Japan. Japan needed raw materials, and they began to expand. All right, we know that. We know that it's an island, and we know that they need raw materials from other countries. So of course they're going to begin their territorial expansion. Japan invaded Indochina. FDR froze Japanese assets and cut off trade with Japan. And of course, this is going to upset them because they do need our business. FDR offered to resume trade if Japan withdrew from China, and of course, they're not going to do that. So Japan prepares a surprise attack. The best place to do it will be in Pearl Harbor. It says Japan decided to attack Indochina, of course, for their oil. Knowing the United States would declare war, Japan attacked first, right? They attacked first. And they believed that the surprise attack would actually eliminate the naval power, right? Because they're attacking us at Pearl Harbor, which we annexed it for the Navy, right? To have a Navy in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It also to allow Japan to fortify their position, since they were going to kind of shut us down. They felt that if they do a well enough attack, it would be difficult for us to rebuild. So that way it's going to give them a chance to make Pearl Harbor their station. And of course that to create a compromise, and Japan would get East Asia back, because of course the United States, being the superpower they were, we were expanding into the Pacific. So the attack at Pearl Harbor, it says December 7, 1941, 2 waves of Japanese airplanes attacked the United States Pacific Fleet, and they sank or damaged 18 ships. And here you can see where the island was, right? Pearl Harbor is here, and you have the naval station here. So all these ships. The ones in red are the ones that were completely sunk, the ones in yellow were damaged, and the ones in blue were undamaged. 260 airplanes were damaged or destroyed, so again, it did hurt us, but again, we were able to rebuild pretty quickly. And this is the way they invaded. First attack goes in through the west side, and then the second attack goes in through the east side, so you have them all here. Almost 6,000 Americans died, right? So we'll be going over this in class a little bit more into detail. And then, of course, you have a day that will live in infamy. FDR, of course, after this happened, he has his speech that says a date that will live in infamy.